Imagine if you have your vision as the car with the right team. Imagine how quick that vision will come into the footsteps. Something that was taking 5 years takes 3 months.
This morning is all about leadership and influence. Good morning, everybody. Greetings again this morning on the Inside Show. I normally catch you on a Tuesday morning, but this morning I'm here and it's Friday morning, and I could not resist not to get the Honorable Mayor Ashley Sauls the first into the studio. He's around here in Johannesburg for some business calls and also a political calls, but it's such a great honor to have Mayor Ashley Sauls the first with us here. Former councillor and member of the Mayoral Committee for Health and Social Development. He's also currently the new mayor of Beaufort West. A lot of ructions happening there, and you will see this guy on TV, offset, on set, run a lot of interviews, and people just want to get them somehow, somewhere in a corner. Well, the discussion this morning is really not a discussion that we should take lightheartedly, because this is so serious. This morning I noticed that our producer made a poster entitled, "What about the Coloureds?" So it's about the Employment Equity Amendment Act. And I'm here, and this week we also had another member of parliament here, Bishop Dalton Adams, on the same subject. And now I have here Mayor Ashley Sauls the first here on the exact subject about the Employment Equity Amendment Act. And I tell you, without a word of a lie, it's a great concern. And he is here to unpack a few things here for us here this morning. And let us just get the formality behind us, and let's just get the mayor into the house. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Doc. It's so good to be here. It's always good to be with you, and thank you very much for having me, and to your viewers. Hello, everybody.
I know we're going to have a wonderful time together and a full pack time together here around the amendment of the Equity Act. So what does this essentially mean for the employment landscape of South Africa?
Well, firstly, we must understand, Doc, that we're now talking about the amendment of an act that's already there. This act was voted for in 2013 already. So what we're dealing with today is an amendment to an act that was already enacted. A bill that is going to amend a certain portion of an act that's already law. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to talk about. So the key of the amendment to the act is really the difference is that everything in the act remains the same. So you'll still have marginalization of colored Africans, Indian Africans, white Africans. And the reason why I emphasize on Africans is because politically, when it comes to Coloureds, they say that we are not African. They say that we are blacks in general, but not African in particular. But I put emphasis on the fact that if you say, as a Coloured, I'm an African. Mm-hmm. I'm an African. So throughout our discussion, I'm going to emphasize colored African, and the reason is I want to emphasize that we are African here, but the reason why they say we are black in general and not African in particular is exactly because when it comes to employment equity, they are able then to separate us and say, whenever they speak about our fellow black Africans, they will say black African.
Correct. Just on that one point, and I want you really just to go in and dig into that and share a little more. Another podcast host mentioned the following about African Americans. He reckoned they must not claim to be African Americans. He claimed they must say American African. Turn it around, because that's why the white Americans get away with so many stuff in America. So you are on the same issue now about incorporating the colors in the African sound. Please just go as deep as possible.
Yes, I mean, we are born here. Mm-hmm. I'm born here. Doc, you are born here. Coloureds are born in this country. Indians born in this country. As a matter of fact, if you look at us, let's just speak about us as Coloureds. You can trace our lineage back to the original first people of this continent, which is the Khoi and the San. You can trace many of our lineages back to that. And obviously, Coloureds are very diverse because you can trace others back originally to the European race, or you can trace to the Nguni tribes and others to Khoisan. But we are that conglomerate of races. We are a biological prototype of racial integration. For us, racial integration for colored people are not an ideology. For a white person, racial integration is an ideology. For a black person, racial integration is an ideology. But for a colored person, it is a matter of biology. We are a prototype of a biological prototype of racial integration. So to say I'm not African, to not include me in the term African, I mean, that's intentional marginalization. That's to exclude me from the ground from which I come. And so in the employment equity field or arena, that's how they've managed to do it politically. So they want you to believe that, hey, you are black. And then when they say B-E-E-E-E-E,
triple B-E.
I'm just like B-E. Yeah. When they say all of that, they say, but it's black economic empowerment. Mm-hmm. So you are part of that, colored man. You're part of that because we consider you black. Then when it comes to practice, they then say, oh, you are black, but you are black in general and not African in particular.
Now, just on that.
Yeah. So when we emphasize who gets the job, mm-hmm. and you are sitting there, we are saying that you are black, all of you are black in general, but we want to give the job to the African in particular. And that doesn't exclude you. And so these issues of semantics, it's not just a matter of semantics. In practice, it actually affects our livelihoods. And that is what we are clearly standing up against. We are speaking for every single race. And when we see, especially the colored race, are being marginalized, you will hear my president, His Excellency Gayton McKenzie, being explicit in his interviews, in his approaches when he talks about the intentional marginalization of colored people. And I myself am here today to say those days are over. When we start speaking about colored people and people want to say, no, it's not about race, it's not about this, it's not about that, those days are over. We're bringing back the colored agenda onto the table of discussion. As a matter of fact, we're not bringing it back. We have already done that. And as you can see in the country right now, the emphasis is on who? It's on colored people. Look at television. You now have sitcoms such as Omar Sari. This gentleman was just on Facebook. And now he has an actual show on ETV Plus. Look around you. Don't think that these little things are happening just coincidentally. It's because there's now been a strong voice for the colored agenda that has never been there before, through the Patriotic Alliance, through our President, His Excellency Gayton McKenzie, and now people are starting to take us seriously, and we will not stop until everyone in this country is treated equally. And we will talk more about that as we delve into the employment equity.
Mayor Ashley Sauls the first. I just want to hear from you. Is this act, this specifically, not even, I think they voted this into 2017, I think, somewhere around it. 2019 or 17?
2013.
2013 already.
Yes.
You're going to share a little more around that. But before I get there, the elephant in the room, is this right from the beginning a racist bill?
Yes, it is a racist bill, and any party that tells you it's not the case is lying. Like the Democratic Alliance, the ANC, they are the originators. They are the originators of this racist bill. So is the DA, and this is why we say the DA is, because the way this thing works is if you bring a law into if you bring a law into if you make something law, there's a certain process before it comes to signing by the president. The president signs after it went through both houses. It went through the National Assembly. It went through the National Council of Provinces. The legislature in our country on provincial and national level has two houses. The National Council of Provinces, the Honorable Bishop Dalton is in the National Council of Provinces. So the ACDP was part of this entire process of discussion, of debate, and all of that kind of stuff before the president signs. They are now making a big thing about the president having signed into law a law that all of them has been discussing for so many years. They have been going through from committee to committee because it goes from a green paper, it's just a discussion. Then that green paper it becomes a white paper, it's discussion. Then it goes to the different houses and committees for debate. So all of them, all the parties that are currently on provincial level and on national level, the ANC, the EFF, the ACDP, the Good Party, the DA, the FF Plus, all of those people.
They voted all this bill into action.
Well, they all didn't vote in favor, but they were all part of the discussions for it to come to signing. So the question for those other parties that didn't vote in favor of that, why did they not raise the same way they are now raising when the president signs for this bill? Through the process when they were discussing in these committees on provincial level, they already started to see that this thing is racist. Why did they not raise and go to the media and go to court and now they want to do it? And the reason why? Elections is next year, so we all know that. So now they're asking for the Patriotic Alliance. What are you saying? We are on local government level planning to go into province and national next year's election. So these ones are there, they've been there, they've been part of the entire process of bringing this law to become law. Then what is very unique is that the DA, which is now the biggest opposition party within this country, shockingly, we can say that no matter what the other opposition parties could have said or done, they wouldn't have won the vote because the ANC is the majority, right? So whatever the ANC wants, they're going to get. So firstly, blame the ANC for this racist bill. Blame them. It is them. But what's shocking, the DA didn't have to vote. The ANC didn't need their votes to pass this particular law. But guess what, Doc? 2013, the DA voted in favor.
What?
Of this particular act.
Well, that information needs to come public now, eh?
It's shocking that the ANC did not need them to vote. Yet, they voted in favor. The DA voted in favor of colored African marginalization, Indian African marginalization, and white African marginalization. They are the ones that now wants to go to court for the amendment of an act that they voted for in 2013. And guess what, Doc? They asked them, DA, why did you do this? Oh, no, it was a mistake. I want to ask, if you make a mistake, they ask, how can it be a mistake? They say, no, the people that was in parliament that they assigned there, they were not properly prepared. Oh, what an indictment on the DA. Imagine you sitting there in a national assembly. You're representing people who voted for you. You go in there unprepared. That's the one thing. But we obviously don't believe it, because how can you be unprepared when by the time it gets to voting, as I said earlier, it already came through discussions, committees, debates, green paper, white paper, all of that. How can you, after such a long process, come to voting and say you made a mistake?
Now, how will this benefit them now, specifically taking them to court? All those coalition parties, there's a few of them that lines up with the DA, and who's the Archiforum and all the grouping around that. They taking government to court. Is it now to stop the amendment, or is it to throw the whole bill out?
It is just political tricks. That's all it is.
Will it be able to stop anything?
No, Solidarity is taking the president to court. They'll answer that, but they will still. I tell you now, Doc, on the 1st of September, this amendment bill is going to come into fruition. It's going to happen on the 1st of September. They are now just trying to make the whole population feel like they are doing something. You're doing something after the president has signed, but you've been part of the whole process. Firstly, DA, you voted for it. when you didn't have to. The ANC didn't need your vote. You voted for it. The other opposition parties, you kept quiet the whole time throughout the entire process. Those, the ACDP and others who's part of the National Council of Provinces, you had an opportunity during the debates, during all of that, to now come to the media and say, there's a racist bill here that is going to exclude certain races. We must deal with it. You kept quiet the whole time. Now, before the year before elections, everyone has something to say. Everyone has something to say about the Coloureds and the what and the what and the what, when they were actually part of the process.
May you unpack this for our viewers out there? What's the difference between the first law that was passed in 2013, where everybody agreed on it, and the amendment now? Just for the viewers' sake.
Yes. So the amendment is like they're saying that we've passed this law and we've implemented this law since 2013, but now we just want to make a little change in the law. So we're going to amend. We're going to just slightly change something. What's that thing that they're going to change now? That's what the president signed into law. The amendment of the Employment Equity Act that has already been there. What is the amendment? The amendment now allows the minister to now be the one. It empowers him or her to be the one who sets what they call the target, but it's actually the racial quota, as far as I'm concerned.
Talk about that.
It's amazing how they use these wonderful words, because you see, they think we are our parents, us new politicians, that is now coming up, that is about truth and transparency, because where we come from, we have seen how our people are affected, and they think we are our parents. You see, die bushi van elders, and kliptaan, ek is nie my ouma nie, ek is nie my ma nie. They could fool them. They can't fool us. You can use these nice words, but we know in practice what it is. And I'm going to take you deep in with my experience of the actual act in my time as MMC of Health and Social Development. I'll break it down for you practically how people's lives has been affected by the law that the DA and the ANC has passed. And now the amendment, all it does is, it now allows the minister to set the target. The minister can come now in 18 sectors, can come now and say, for the next 5 years, we want in every sector, we want so many black Africans, so many colored, so many whites, so many Indians. He sets it. Then after he sets it, you must just submit to it. That's what the amendment empowers him to do. And that is the only difference. But the entire act stays the same. So I want to ask the question here. For so many years, every colored, every black person, every white person, every Indian person, have you been struggling to get jobs? Have you been struggling to get jobs? You've been struggling to get jobs for many years. You are not going to struggle to get jobs from September. We are now making such a big hoo-ha as if when this amendment is passed, Coloureds is going to be marginalized. We've been marginalized. We've been marginalized for so many years. Colored young people complete school, goes to university. Colored young people goes and looks for a job. Their CVs are thrown into the dustbin just because of their surnames. It's not going to happen in September. It's been happening. I'll make it even worse. They're now saying that the employment equity is for black Africans, right? So that the transformation is just another word again for apartheid. So the transformation can be in the workplace. So now they're going to determine what the racial quota is, and it's no longer going to be calculated the way it was before. So now they say it's to benefit so that black Africans can have jobs, because the black Africans doesn't have jobs. Now I want to tell you this thing, Doc, based on my experience. Don't underestimate the fact that there's a majority of black people in this country that is also going through the same discrimination that other races are going through. That's what I've seen with my eyes. Black people in this country are suffering under the ANC government. They are not getting, I'll show you how. Because the employment equity was now to benefit the black person who had to now get jobs. But what the ANC is doing is, they employ black people. But if you are not the politician's friend, the politician's network, the politician's girlfriend, the politician's side chick or the whatever, you still don't get a job, even though you are black. So if the black people whom the employment equity is meant to benefit does not benefit them, how much more
So you said the triple B is a complete failure.
It's a complete and utter failure. Don't take my word for it. Go and see in practice. Ask yourself. There's many black people that goes and look for a job. If you're not the friend of the manager, if you're not the sister and the uncle, they bring their sisters and their uncles from Limpopo to come work in Gauteng. The people born here in Joburg doesn't get jobs. It's people from outside that's coming, and not to even mention the issue that my president continuously talks about, the illegal immigration issue. That even then, illegal immigrants is getting the jobs of the people in this country, and therefore you need to deal with that. So there is suffering there. Now, the point I want to make is that the people, the race group that the Employment Equity Act is supposed to benefit, if it doesn't even benefit them, how much more us, whom it's not even meant to benefit? Where does that place us? Do you understand why when you go to colored communities, you see our children just on drugs and trying to find other means to get income? It's not because our children is not trying. It's not because our children is not going out to look for jobs. They intentionally take our children's CVs and they throw it in the dustbin because they do not care. So what are we saying as the Patriotic Alliance? We are saying, we're coming. We are going to, our president is clear, he's going to abolish racial classification. After 2024, you shall no longer be known as white, black, colored. We shall be one nation under God. Then the focus will not be on which race gets jobs, which race doesn't get jobs. There's not going to be racial classification. The focus is rather going to be on strengthening the economy. The idea is, let's rather build a big, massive economy so that there are more than enough jobs for everybody. What this current government is doing.
Then you don't need a triple B.
You don't need triple BEE, doc.
Create opportunities.
Create massive opportunities that anybody, anywhere in the country can get jobs. Our president continuously says that we have so much natural mineral resources that if we change the model of how we deal with exports and imports and have a situation where we refine, we create beneficiation here, that we do produce our own things, that if you come from another place and you want to get our mineral resources, you are welcome to invest and mine and do whatever, as long as the refineries are here. You do the things here and then you send a produced product out. Unlike what's happening now. They take our gold, they take our timber, the timber gets out of the country, they make the coffin in another country, and we buy the coffin and the furniture back from another country. Therefore, we don't have jobs. So now you have a small, deteriorating economy, and they make a huge number of different people having to fight for small opportunities. So now if we say that there's only 10 jobs, there's a small amount of jobs because of the economy. And then you say, now we have to see how do we split this 10 jobs? Now they say employment equity. Out of the 10, we will take 70% of the 10 and give it to black people. But not just all black people, just the black people who's my friend, who's my network, who gives me a sticky. When I give you the job, you're going to get part of your salary. So even there is discrimination there. Then the 30% is left for 3 other racial groups. Imagine. 3 other racial groups must share 30% of all the jobs. That's employment equity in their minds. Mm-hmm. Then even that 30% is then not properly split for the benefit of colored people, of white people, and of Indian people. Before I take Rev to the actual practicality of how this thing is implemented, I'll make you a real example of what I've experienced firsthand.
Go ahead.
How this thing happened. Before I do that, I want to show what the DA is doing. Because some people's going to say, why are you including white people? Our president is saying, we will not make the children continue to pay for the sins of their fathers. We have reached a place now where we must live as one nation. Now, why are we doing that? Why are we prone to do that? Why is that our natural proclivity? Why is Gayton McKenzie so hard on no? We must bring everyone together. Why is he so hard on? It's because of his biological makeup. He is not speaking of a racial integration as an ideology, a nice, beautiful idea. He's speaking of it from a place of, in his blood, he has he has white Irish blood. In his blood, he has Sotho blood. So if he looks down on a white person, he's looking down on his grandfather. If he looks down on a black person, he's looking down on his grandfather. The same for all of us as Coloureds. So for us, it is not a matter of, hey, this is a beautiful idea. And so what do you need in this country? Do you not need a president that as a biological a makeup, as a God assignment? He's saying it's his God assignment to bring the nation together, and everyone must have joy of the prosperity of this country as one. That's the kind of president that you need. And he's clear about it. We need a dictator like Gayton McKenzie. I'm going to tell you why this is important to have a dictator. And I'm talking about decisiveness. He's not, there's a concept, a philosophical concept of dictatorship, but it's a benevolent dictator. You see, not like the dictator that are evil. That's not what we're talking about. Gayton McKenzie is not an evil man.
We're not talking about Hitler.
I'm not talking about Hitler, Doc, you're correct. I'm talking about a benevolent dictator. That is someone who's decisive, who knows where the country must go, but he has heart. You have seen that perfect balance in everything he has done thus far. Now, why is that important? Because that nature, when I was deployed now into the portfolio of MMC of Health and Social Development, this president of ours, who is a benevolent dictator, he cares, but he's clear. You will go in there and you will do 1, 2, and 3. What motivates that kind of dictatorship? It's his benevolence. I'll show you how. So he says to me, he says to not just us, not just me, everybody that's deployed, every MMC, every executive mayor. So I go into MMC of Health and Social Development. So the first thing you do is get jobs for our people. Now it's a decisive directive. You don't do it, I don't want you there. That's the kind of person you want. But what motivates that directive? He cares about the fact that people are not employed. So he says, you will not divert from this directive. So go in there, get jobs for our people. So I come in there, the first thing I ask is, this law that has been made, this is what this law has done in practice. What is the employment equity plan, target, and what are the actuals, so that I can now compare in my department?
Your own law.
Yes.
Let us just see if that is fairly spread.
It's fairly spread. Your own law. Remember, this is before the amendment. So let's run away from this thing that politicians want you to think that, only from the 1st of September you are going to struggle. If you are honest, you've been struggling. Till this point. Who's to be blamed? Every single political party that's on provincial level and national level right now, and more so the ANC and the DA that is in bed together, who has brought about this law. So I come in there, I'm supposed to submit to this law. It's law, it's the law of the land that the ANC and the DA has passed. And all the other political parties was quiet about all this time. So I come in there, I have a mandate from our president and from our NEC. You go in there and you treat everyone equally. That's the mandate. We are not even on provincial government. We are not national government. It says, go in there. This is what you must do. I go in, I ask for the employment equity plan. What is your plan in terms of the racial spread of employees in the Department of Health alone? They bring me the plan. I see the numbers. I say, now give me the actuals. And then I compare. If the plan is so many Coloureds, then I want to see if actually there's so many Coloureds. If the plan is so many blacks, so many Indians, then I compare. Doc, I put it to you now, and anybody can go now and go look at these numbers. I was the MMC of Health and Social Development. Out of 3,864 total employees, guess how many Coloureds? Out of 3,864 in one department only.
And what is the equity amendment? Not the amendment. What is the bill saying about the percentage for that department? 3%.
It's 70-30.
70-30.
So 70 black Africans.
I'm with you.
30 must be spread. It must be shared.
White, Indian, and black.
It must shed.
White, Indian, and coloured.
White, Indian, and coloured. It must be shared amongst them.
Yes.
It's already a messed up situation, but
Correct.
it's law.
So now you test it now yourself as the MMC of was it with roads?
No, the one with health and social development.
Before
yes.
before you move in. Okay.
Before I moved to roads. So I'm already angry that the law says 30%
Yeah.
must be spread between 3 racial groups.
So your question back to from 3-8.
Right. So I can't change that law. The DA and the ANC 2013 brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
I can't change it. You must now submit to it because we're just on local government. We're only planning to go to provincial where they make these laws.
So what was your shocking discovery?
My shocking discovery was that they give 30% to spread. And even with that 30%, guess how many colors?
Within the 30%? No idea.
Out of 3,864, ladies and gentlemen, 92 colors.
Out of it,
My father, 92 colors. Whites, 57. Indians, 36. My father, if that's not discrimination intentionally, then I don't know.
Now help the viewers. How did you change it, and what was the right amount?
Yes. So I first want to also say that now that they did this amendment, they say the purpose for doing the amendment, the ANC, the purpose for doing the amendment is so that they speed up transformation because the private sector has been slow in the transformation. Now, if you are the ones making the law and now you are criticizing
the private
sector for not being fast, now let's look at how you have done it.
Oh, correct.
The public sector, right?
Correct, yeah.
So I'm talking about now the public sector, the people who's criticizing the private sector. How did you do it? You must now set the example.
Exactly.
They themselves has not been speeding up transformation. And so now what happens is out of that 3,864, then I discovered, now I ask, how is it that when I calculate 92 plus 36 plus 57, it doesn't amount to 30% of the total process, of the total number of employees in the Department of Health. So I have a problem. I have a problem, firstly, with the 30%. I can't do nothing about that because it's already law, because of the ANC and the DA.
Correct.
But now, you still, in that framework, don't employ enough colored people. That's not just marginalization, that's intentional marginalization. So I say that is going to change. Then I go further. I then discovered that not only did they reach the target for black African of 70%, they reached that target of employment, the employment number. Not only did they reach the target, they exceeded the target. In other words, they employed more people than what the laws say they must do. More black people than what the laws say they must do. And again, black people are suffering too because most of those people, remember, it's not even spread equally, justly. They bring them from different other provinces because the director has family there, so the people are not benefiting. How much more the ones that are on the minority or the underrepresented groups? Doc, they over-exceeded the target. Guess by how much?
10%.
Not even 10%. Because 10% of 3,000 is 300. They exceeded it by 1,616. I'll never forget those numbers.
Jeez.
Here's the target. You've already reached the target. You then go over the target, and you
still take from the minority group.
You still take. In other words, 1,616 people could have been colored, Indian, or white. You take that from there, and you employ in addition. So this law, this act, you see why I'm saying it's racist? In practice, it's intentionally marginalizing in practice.
Now with this law, with the minister now have the power to override even the previous act.
The minister, what this means?
Because this means he can employ more than 70%. Because he can instruct every department now how to employ.
Correct.
So which means what you were standing for based on the law, it makes you powerless now.
It makes me even more powerless. That's what this government is doing.
So they can employ, if the minister approve with this amendment, they can employ 80% black and spread 20% amongst the rest.
Then there's nothing you can do about it. Because now it is law. There's nothing you can do about it. But I have a solution.
I want to hear.
I have a solution.
Because I tell you, people are going to the streets before you get to your solution. People are going to the streets, and my question is that before you get to your solution, people are going to the streets right now, and they march, they come against this law. People are going to court. Will that help?
No, it is. You see, I've studied these people. Just like they did in apartheid, it's like they write a movie, they write a script where they say, if you do this, the response of the people is going to be protest. Leave them, it's their right to protest. Let them scream, let them shout, let them do whatever. Then you send a politician, come address them, tell them you are going to do it. But the law remains. These are all systematic political gymnastics. All these interviews that are being done. See, I didn't come here to say anything around. I came here to speak the truth. That law, that amendment, mark my words, come 1st September.
It will be law.
It will be law. Whether you march between now and September, go on. Go jump there and let them give you bread and things like that after jumping. Let them buy you KFC after jumping. Let them hire all these buses to take you somewhere and just create hype. It's not going to change anything. Now people want to go to shops and say, you must employ Coloureds, you must do this, that and the other. Now you want to do all of that. Where was all this activity long before? Because that law was there since 2013. This is just the amendment empowering the minister to do even worse. Right? He can now determine the racial quota, not the target. They want to use this nice word. It's just the target. It's a racial quota. So practically, 1,616. Now I want to show you our president. We are not, as the Patriotic Alliance, we are not in province like the other parties, like your previous guests and others. We are not in national. We are only in local government. We must apply the law and maneuver ourselves to bring opportunity for our people. Maneuver ourselves within the ambit of the law to now this is what we did. So the president says, I don't care what you do. You have been given a directive. You will change in the ambit of the law and bring opportunity for colored people, for white people, for Indian people, and black people equally.
You must just define, because when you sometimes say the president, you must just define the president of the country or the president of the PA.
No, the incoming president of the country 2024, His Excellency Gayton McKenzie. That's the one I'm talking about.
All right.
So I want to show you the power of the kind of president we need. We don't need the kind of the current president we have. You know that.
Yeah, but I can tell you offhand, our president that we have now, there's no decisiveness with him.
Totally.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
He's like he doesn't make quality decisions. He's not a risk taker. It's beneficial. He say everything that you want to hear, and he doesn't put his foot down at all. We need a leader in this country, and by a long shot. We need a leader like yesterday, because in spite of passing all these little laws, our country is going to the gutters.
We need a leader. I want to just complete the sentence, Doc. I know you have to be neutral and all of that, so I'll finish the sentence. We need a leader like Gayton McKenzie to be the president of this country, because he's a benevolent dictator. I want to show what that means in practice. And I'll even take you to what is happening in the Central Karoo. Then you can use that as a case study for his style of leadership for the nation. So he says to us, all of us that are deployed, if you don't do it, listen to this. This is how it happens in the Patriotic Alliance. You don't follow the line. As quick as you came in is as quick as you'll go. You'll be the MMC today. Tomorrow you are no longer the MMC. Not because he controls your life. You are allowed independence in terms of your office. I'm not sent scripts to how I must be the executive mayor of Beaufort West Municipality. No, my party has entrusted confidence in me to lead the executive within Beaufort West Municipality. But if you must do it within the ambit of the directive and the principles of the Patriotic Alliance, which is what? We don't look down on any race. It is our God-given mandate as colored people, as a party, to bring all races together, provide opportunities for all races. 2, service delivery is key. You place people above profits, principles above personalities. You make decisions based on merit, not on who you know and who you don't know. They don't want to admit that about Gayton McKenzie. They want to paint him as an ex-con. As a matter of fact, this country must be happy that the next president is an ex-con. You know why? Because you can't con an ex-con. These current cons, I'm showing you current cons. They've conned us. Like now they are conning you. They're making you believe that the amendment to an act is something new. You're going to suffer after September. They're conning the people. You've been suffering. It's just a slight change that makes it worse, yes. Right? So in the department, he says to us, all the deployees, MMCs, mayors, everyone that's deployed on local government, he says, we go in there, you treat everyone equal, black, colored, Indian, white, they are all South Africans, but where there is unfairness, you deal with it. So I come there, I see the unfairness. We don't hate our black brothers, but there's unfairness. You can't have 1,616 people more than the target. That's unfair. It's wrong. Now what must I do? I can't fire the 1,616 because that's also families. They've already been employed despite how they've been employed. So what must I do now? My next question is, the mandate from our president and our NEC is, no, don't discard anybody. All of us are South African. Find a way. So now you must not think in the box, out of the box. You must think as though there is no box. You have a mandate. So now what must I do? Now I ask, all right, I can't fire these people because they are also South African, and my mandate from my party is we must look after everyone. So you leave that there. Now the next question is, how many jobs are there still available? 944 jobs funded and available. Now you ask yourself, in such a huge unemployment scenario, how is it that you still have 944 jobs that's not filled and there's budget for it in health alone? So now I say, all right, if I compare 944 as the MMC, there's funded vacant positions that can be filled. There's budget for it. 1,616 is more than the available jobs that I must now spread between colored, white, and Indian in my department alone. So I say, because the amount you have exceeded is more than the available vacancies, I now as the MMC give a directive that in this recruitment cycle to fill the 944 jobs, we shall exclude black Africans. I'm not excluding black Africans because of race. I'm excluding black Africans because of an equity discrepancy. I'm saying you are not just enough in my department, you are more than enough by 1,616. Is that not fair?
That's fair.
That's not discrimination.
Exactly.
Then I call in the directors. I say, this recruitment cycle, you shall employ 944 people, but they will only be recruited from 3 races: colored, white, and Indian. Now, Doc, if we were just for coloreds and not for fairness of the entire South African populace, based on the mandate of our party and the dream and the vision of our president, should I not have gone and said all 944 jobs just for coloreds? We said no. We must bring and benefit all races. So this 944 jobs, we want colored, white, and Indian. If you think it's not the truth, go and Google Goetes mood balance. You'll find an interview where when I was the MMC of health, it's there. I then went and I said, Goetes mood balance because Goetes balance nie. Okay, I was a bit technical in the sense that I wanted on official documents, I wanted them to write it like a colored person will write it. We don't write Goeters, we don't use the R. We write Goetes and we mix English and Afrikaans. So I wanted the colored feel to it. So they came to me, MMC, this is improper grammar. MMC, you can't say Goetes moet balance. You must say Dunga moet balanceer. So I said, who's the MMC here?
Yeah.
I'm the MMC. I come from elders. The way we speak is Goetes moet balance. We mix English and Afrikaans. So as the MMC, you gaan skryf Goetes moet balance and sonder die R. Our president always said, you don't play with power. And then that was power to say, I want my people, colored people especially, to feel we are here now. And we can also speak like we want to speak. They put it on official documents. Go look at the interview. You'll see there I'm sitting with Gareth, one of the top anchors within our country. And Gareth had to say goeders moet balance like we say it. What was the idea there? It's a concept amongst our people that when things are out of balance, we want to balance it. And what's the balance? The balance is we bring equality in the best way we can, within the ambit of what we can, we bring it. So if you want to test whether we, as the Patriotic Alliance, are serious about serving everybody, there's the proof. Look at what our president is doing. Unlike other parties that is just talking about, it's a whole lot of talk shops, but when they, in practice, they marginalize us. And so if Doc allows me later on, I will then give you the solution.
Yes, we'll wait. We'll leave that towards the end of the show.
I'll
The
give you the
solutions,
solution.
we need that. Mayor Ashley Sauls the first. My question to you, some people are watching, and there's a concern about around the Coloureds. One of the concerns that's there is that there's not enough awareness around what's happening really, not just with the Equity Act, but in general. What must happen with the colored nation? I know you are standing for all the minorities, as a matter of fact, for every South African. But what must happen in the colored communities to catch a wake about the realities and what's happening in this country currently?
You know, Doc, sometimes I feel my race, we are not stupid. We are the smartest people. We are the smartest people you can find on the face of the earth. But sometimes I have to ask, if we are so smart, why are we still voting wrong, not taking opportunities? Ek kan het by een conclusion kom. Ons is getoer of iets. And here we are now, and Doc is here. Doc, you must make declarations of authority over this race. Because it's as if when we come to these things, our eyes are blinded. I've seen it with my eyes.
But I tell you, I did a extensive research on the pull and pull factors in one of my degrees. But the push and pull factors about why is it that colored, brown people is so easily submissive. They are so easily submissive. It's the one thing, is the word acceptance. They want to be accepted. There's no decisiveness, which means they want acceptance everywhere. Let me give you a typical example. They want to be accepted by blacks. They want to be accepted by Indians. They want to be accepted by whites. There's that form of acceptance, and this is a simple illustration. Somebody in a community. This is a black church. I'm pastoring a black church, where there's blacks, there's Indians, there's whites, and there's colors. Maybe not a lot of whites, but that is the ratio. So what I've noticed that a person can have a very functional role. I'm just giving you an example of our brown people. They have a functional role, a key role, a leading role in this church. The minute they go to a white pastoring church, I'm just showing you an illustration around acceptance. They accept to be placed anywhere without complaining. The businessman gives more there than here. It's a situation where they are not decisive. They don't make quality decisions. They don't stand up for themselves. They want others to make them. That's the long and the short. So in the workplace, they go with their hands like this. There's this. They're always submissive in one way or the other. And I guess right from the beginning, if you go before 1652, that's why we lost the country through the Khoi and the Sand people, is because they were submissive. Again, people come from other countries. They opened their fields they gave them a mirror for 5 cows, and you can go down the line within that aspect. But the long and the short is, there's one thing is, there's a craving for acceptance. Now, what makes you authoritative and what makes Gayton McKenzie authoritative, there is no craving for acceptance. You stand for justice and for truth. That's it. And that makes you who you are. But majority of brown people have a tendency of, please just accept me for who I am. And then that craving for people to make them. As we are so smart, we are so intelligent, we are, let's use a typical example. If you take Miss South Africa, they put 1 or 2 brown people in there. They are smart people. They marginalize you in all spheres. And then that crippled us. If you look at our communities, we are demoralized in a big sense. So at some point, we should come together. this is my take. How many? I don't have the figures correctly. How many colored people are registered on the books in South Africa? Do you have a number?
No, I don't have a number.
Yeah, I wish if we can Google that quickly there. Now, this is it. If all colors at one point go to the polls and vote right or correctly, they will be able to change the dynamics of politics forever in South Africa. But first of all, they don't go vote. Secondly, there's a mixed vote, too thinly spread across. And thirdly, there is a loyalty towards the ANC, most probably which I also had for many years. But at some point, you must get to a point where you see like the ANC is not for you. They're not standing for you. They are against you. They pass laws that's not for you. If we can get to that point, to realize our power and our authority, you'll see change in this country. You'll see change. Before you go there, I just want to hear, is it remarks or questions?
Question.
Okay, let's go quickly.
Okay. Greetings to everybody once again for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. So just to answer your question, how many coloureds are there? It's estimated that, well, they take the total population of South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe is 5.3, but they say it's about 4.8 coloureds in South Africa. And then we've got in the comment section here, I just want to greet a few people. They're saying good morning. Donovan Gauss. We've got Candace Sammy, Serrano Sammy, Donovan Gauss, I said. Martin Jacobs, Viv Bloomyears. Synergize is one of the accounts, QS, and Dion Phillips Moses, Cheslin Ribbets. So there's a few questions here and a few criticisms that I think the mayor would be able to answer. There's one person by Synergize, because of the language, I cannot use the foul language, but he says, this brew is talking the cow word. And then he says here that you bad-mouthing the ANC, yet you give them power in Johannesburg. Viv Bloomers has something very interesting. She says that it's disappointing to see that there's no real noise regarding this issue. I feel the youth and coloured adults specifically are just failing the next generation by sitting back and not fighting this bill. And then that question that you asked, QS is also asking, we want to know what you are going to do to help respectively. And then there's another person by Cheslin Ribbets that also says that the PA works with the ANC and keeps them in power in Johannesburg. And then the ampersand says that as a coloured South African who has been discriminated against by other races of this country, my political sentiment is this: vote PA, and if they don't deliver, keep them accountable. And then the ampersand also continues to say that my pain point with my people's mentality is that they will vote every other race into power, like you were saying, to lord it over them and determine their identity to them instead of giving their own people an opportunity. And that is in terms of the questions and the comments.
I want to jump on the one with the foul language. And this thing that Doc was just addressing about acceptance. I've said over 5,000 times in this interview alone, I said the DA voted with the ANC for this act that has marginalized us. I've said that. The person, we come, many years later in 2021, we come into government as the Patriotic Alliance, into a coalition with the ANC, and I'll explain that now. The person chooses to say we keep the ANC in power and blame us for the current situation, and then treat the DA with kid gloves. Who's the reason why we are suffering now? The DA has voted with the ANC. Can I say that over? The DA has voted with the ANC. On local government level, we now have a coalition arrangement. The fact that we are in coalition with the ANC is not us giving or keeping the ANC in power. The ANC is in power nationally. Is it because of us? No. It's because of those people that are commenting who voted for the ANC, who voted for the DA. They are in power because of how the nation has voted, not because of what the PA is not keeping them in power. The PA has said from the beginning, our president has said, we shall go in coalition with anybody. We were in coalition with the DA, and when the DA wanted to treat us like slaves, we are not going to sit there and accept the master like these people are doing now, that is just looking for ways to justify. If Steenhuisen was sitting here and Steenhuisen was saying, the PA voted with the ANC in 2013, everyone was going to say PA voted with the ANC. Now a very dark colored, a very black colored sits here, and I'm very proud to be colored. I sit here and I give you truth. I tell you that the DA has voted with the ANC way back in 2013 when PA just started. And they are the reason why we are not getting jobs. That vote, you are still covering for the DA. And you want to put the blame on us for being in coalition. Coalition government is not we are in bed with the ANC. I'll prove to you now how. Start thinking, colored people. Open your eyes and start seeing. In Ennerdale, we just won Ward 7 in Ennerdale, the Patriotic Alliance. We had a by-election this past Wednesday. We went up against the ANC. I want to show you, if you say we are in bed with the ANC, this gentleman or lady. How can we be in bed with the ANC if the councillor, the previous councillor of Ward 7 was ANC, MMC Amelia Zama. She's a colored. She stood up and said, no, I'm in this party called the ANC for many years. Our people has been marginalized by this party that I stood for. I'm done. I'm standing up now. I'm walking out of this position. And when a councillor walks, it becomes a by-election, right? She walks, and where did she go? She came to join the Patriotic Alliance because when she compared, she said, I want to serve my people and all people through the Patriotic Alliance. So if we are in bed with the ANC, shouldn't we have said, no, you stay there? This is our partners. No. We are not friends with the ANC. We are not friends with the DA. But if we are going to serve our people, we must even work with our enemies so that we are able to do what I did. Without being in coalition, was I going to be able to provide 944 jobs? So I want to explain this thing so that you don't think coalition means we are with the ANC. Open up your eyes, my father. That's what I meant earlier. Onze seker getoer. Because we can't see, I'm putting it before you, and I'm sick of just being nice and talking. We don't have time anymore. 2024 is around the corner. We must stop defending the DA and defending other parties who's been messing around with our lives. She came out, she joined the PA. We went now to fight against who? The ANC. Doc, Ennerdale, Fine Town, Meritang. We celebrate you for finally seeing the light. Because guess what? We won the ANC in Ward 7. Not by a small margin. And Doc, the Patriotic Alliance won the ANC by 1,543 votes. 1,500. What is that? That's not a win. And colored way, that is geslat. Ons het die ANC geslat. Who did that? Our people together. Colored people in Ennerdale, a portion of black people in Fine Town and Meritang. What did you see there? When all races comes together as one, support truth and transparency. So slat ons die ANC. Come 2024, I'm here. What did I say when we did our introduction? Did I not say the ANC is responsible for this racist act? The DA supported them by voting for this racist act. Did I not say that? If I am trying to keep them in power, must I come and talk like that? No, we don't want to keep the ANC in power. We want to remove the ANC in 2024. We want to remove the ANC. We want to remove the DA. The Patriotic Alliance must govern and led by His Excellency Gayton McKenzie. That's clear. Now, we must just work with everybody so that we are able to bring services to our people. Have we not done it? You cannot do it without partnering. We did not partner with the ANC first. We partnered with the DA first. Then the DA wanted us to sit there there in my MMC's office, and I mustn't talk about these things. When I went to MMC of Transport, the CEO that has faked his degrees, in 1 week of me going in there, it's me who facilitated the report to say that CEO must be fired. Who employed that CEO? The DA and the Action SA. Go there, it's there, ask them. The documentation are there. The fake degree CEO in JRA responsible for 14,000 lane kilometer road in this Joburg Metro. You put someone that's not even an engineer who faked his PhD. You put him there. Who put him there? The DA and Action SA. PA comes in. A little boy from Kliptown and El Dorado Park with a directive from a benevolent dictator. We go and fix places where we go in. 1 week, it didn't take me 2 months or whatever. We went in there with clear mandate. Started that, and what did the DA do to stop me from that? They said that I put a moratorium and I'm not allowed to put a moratorium. What must I do when I see corruption? Must I not put a moratorium to stop tenders from going out that way? They didn't want that. Who did our people believe? On the news, they believed this. They believed the DA. Why? Like Pastor says, like Doc says, they want to be accepted by Helen Ziller. The blonde woman must say, well done. The other people must, but our own people, they believed them when they said that I did something that's not regular. I went to stop corruption based on the mandate from my party. I went to deal with that CEO based on the mandate from my party. The DA comes and says, I'm not supposed to do that. They fire me on TV. My people clapped. My people laughed at me on Facebook. My people went on radios and things like that and said that he's out of his depth. That's what my people went to say about me. Today, that CEO is fired. None of my people came back and said I did the right thing. None of them came back and said, Helen, you were wrong. None of them said you were wrong to fire our child on national television. None of my people said so. I stand up every day and I continue, even in Beaufort. I'll show you, Doc, what we are doing there. When will our people wake up? As you say, me, I don't want to be accepted by nobody. My people has been speaking against me for years. I still continue because I understand the dream. I don't care if they don't want to listen to me and they want to listen to Helen. They want to listen to Cyril Ramaphosa and Malema and all of these people, and they call my president an ex-con and a criminal. Our own people are dealing with our president's past. Why don't you look at what he's doing in the present? Who's saying that they must look at the past? Who's telling them to do so? It is Helen. They stand here and comment on our shows, but they're listening to Helen. They worried about he was an ex-criminal and what. What about the current criminals? You experience that daily. They say we must forget about apartheid, isn't it? They say forget about the past. Apartheid is in the past. Isn't that what they tell us? But when they come to Gayton McKenzie, you are asking them to forget about his criminal past. They find it hard to forget about his criminal past, but they want us to forget about how they took our fathers and hit their heads against concrete roofs. How they used their children who 17 to tell our fathers who was twice older than them, because they were white, they come from school and they supervise our fathers. They want us to forget that, but they can't forget the fact that somebody was an ex-criminal. They can't forget Gayton McKenzie's past, but we must forget apartheid. And these people like this who comes and speaks foul language here on our shows and talk to me and wants to swear me like I'm some child there on the street, will he say that to Helen? He will not even write that on their posts because of this issue of acceptance. I want to come back to that. So I've explained the coalition thing and I've explained we are not in bed with the ANC. If you want to get things done for our people like what we've been doing now, unfortunately in the coalition arrangement, you must partner with different people. Who can change it? It is the people that's listening to us now, that's watching this, give us more power so that we don't have to go with the DA or the ANC and allow us to do what we're doing in the Central Karoo. The issue of acceptance, you are so right, Doc. But that is also our blessing. The innate proclivity for colored people to accept is a blessing too. What Doc is addressing is the fact that we use acceptance to seek affirmation. And you are so right, Doc. Ask me. And our president, Gayton McKenzie, he doesn't need affirmation from Rupert. He doesn't need affirmation from all these people who are funding other people. He says, we don't need your money. Because I'm not seeking to be accepted, but there's a thing that's uniquely ours as colored people. It's our ability to accept everyone. That is what you need to take this country forward. We are the only ones blessed with the quality of being able to look at a white person, a black person, and an Indian person and try and bring all of them together. What we must change, as Doc has said, is trying to be accepted by them. We must know who we are and understand our power to change the trajectory of this country so that we accept everyone. That's the flip. I'm not here to be accepted. I don't want to be accepted by any race. I want to be the one that shows how this dream that you've had of the rainbow nation, and you just made white doves fly there, and you think you are bringing people together, and you sing Simunia, we are one. You cannot do it because it is not your God-given mandate, first of all, and neither is it your biological makeup. It's our biological makeup to bring all races together. We must flip that and say our mandate is we will show this country through our president, Gayton McKenzie, how you bring all races together.
Mayor Ashley Sauls the first. Give us the solutions in short, and then we out of the show. So we were waiting for, so what will work?
This will work, and mark my words, I'm not here to try and make people like me or all of that kind of stuff. I'm here to tell you the truth. Go march, go do whatever. That law, 1st of September, mark my words, you'll call me again, Doc. That law is going to come, right? But what must you do? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, so that from September to 2024 election, everyone who's been continuing to vote for the ANC, vote for all these parties, you will feel the brunt of what you're feeling now. We are going to feel it. We are going to suffer. Let that suffering remind you. Let it be a thorn in your flesh. What the DA, the ANC, ACDP, EFF, FF plus Almalda, what they have done to us. Let it remind you. Then come 2024, this is how you change this thing. The legislative wing does not only enact laws, it also abolishes laws. So the only way out of this is one way. Come 2024, after suffering for a few months, you can make it. You've been suffering since 1952. You can put a little bit of
1652.
1652. From 1652, you can put a little bit of months there. It's from September to May. You are going to experience what you are experiencing now and have been experiencing. It's not new. You're going to experience it for a few more months. Use that to stay focused on the goal. What's the goal? We must remove these people that are making us suffer like this. Whether you are black, whether you are white, whether you are Indian, whether you are colored, you must remove them. How do you do it? Here's the solution. Get President Gayton McKenzie to become the president of this country. Get the Patriotic Alliance to have power within province and national. And what will happen? In the legislature, we will change these laws. We will abolish these laws. It's clear. We will have no more race here in this country. There will be no white person, no colored person, no black person, no Indian person, only South Africans. One nation under God. 2, we will then focus on expanding the economy so that there's more than enough opportunities for everybody, rather than having a small economy and you must share these things amongst your friends, etc. This is possible. I'm talking about the man who has said to the nation that the Central Karoo will be the next Dubai. They laughed at him. Even our own people laughed at him. Coloureds laughed at him. There he is today. The geologist and the scientist came there to the Central Karoo. The shale gas in this country is the new gold. What gold was for Joburg and made Joburg boom and become the biggest economy in this continent is what's going to happen to the Central Karoo, because shale gas is the new gold. I'm going to stop with this, Rev. It is fact. Go and research. He said the next Dubai, you laughed at him. He said it, everybody laughed. Here's the academics came and proved the statement in this way. nationally, we have 490 trillion cubic feet of shale gas in this country nationally. Out of that number, 209 trillion cubic feet of shale gas is in the Central Karoo alone. In my municipality, 8 trillion cubic feet of shale gas is in Beaufort West alone, 8 trillion. Let me show you the power of that. In Mossel Bay, go research. In Mossel Bay, for 30 years, they've been mining shale gas. With that shale gas, they have built refineries, schools of excellence. They are trading in shale gas. For 30 years, they discovered it in 1984 in Mossel Bay. Mossel Bay is booming there for 30 years. Guess how many shale gas they discovered? 1 trillion cubic feet. 1 trillion cubic feet is lasting them for 30 years. In Beaufort West alone, we have times 8 that. In the Central Karoo, we have 209 trillion cubic feet of shale gas. Is it impossible for us to become the next Dubai? For Gayton McKenzie, you will remain without jobs. You will remain within poverty. This man has vision. He is called of God. He has proven it over and over again. He went to Central Karoo in 1 year. He said he's going to eradicate the bucket system. He did it in 100 days. He said that there's going to be jobs. There's factories that are started there that the DA now doesn't want. Go to Beaufort. Stop listening to DA over the news and things. Go to Beaufort. Come to me. Call me. I will take you on a tour to the factories. I'm there. I'll take you to the swimming pools that was fixed. You know what they're talking about on the media? 1 swimming pool out of 6 that wasn't fixed. He was not supposed to fix it. He raised money, fixed the pools, fixed the toilets. It's there. But they go to 1 broken pool. 1 out of 6. The man fixed 5 pools that was totally broken. Not with municipal money. Instead of celebrating for 5 out of 6 pools that the DA didn't fix for so many years and they were in power there, they are now going to 1 swimming pool, 1 that was not fixed, but 6 others was fixed. The man took the money, he spent it on there. They ask, where's the money? They're now saying, no, it's a problem because he didn't put the money into the municipality's account. Doc. Do you put money that you raise into the same account of the same people who's been misusing the money and not fixing the very things you want to fix? So he says, no, I'm not putting it there. I'm going to put it into a trust. He said it right at the beginning. They are now saying because he didn't do that, it's irregular. If he put it in the municipal account, dan moet het nou die supply chain process, nou kom tende diene om 'n toilet reg te maak wat R3 kost and he charges 500,000. So he says, no, we're not going to do that. If you're logical, did he not do the right thing? That's the kind of president we need. That's the solution. And you might think it's not a solution. There's no other solution. We are on local government. We can't change that law. I'm concluding with this one. The only solution is go to the polls 2024, suffer a little while. But come 2024, vote Gayton McKenzie, vote the Patriotic Alliance, and we shall prosper as one.
That is the Honorable Mayor Ashley Sauls. The truth is this, there's only one way to get around this: abolish this racist law. That's it. We are all South Africans, and there's a long and a short. We accept too many things in this country. From me to you, this is the Inside Show with Carl Hendricks. We went well over our time, but what a wonderful, passionate guest we had here with us here this morning, all the way from the Central Karoo, being a mayor there in Beaufort West. God bless you. You must have a super weekend. All the best. Take care. Love you. But God loves you best. Goodbye.
Imagine if you have your vision as the car with the right team. Imagine how quick that vision will come into the footsteps. Something that was taking 5 years, 3 months.
This morning is all about leadership and influence.